Mums with Hustle podcast, episode 531.
Welcome to the Mums with Hustle podcast, where you'll discover everyday mum entrepreneurs killing it in their industry. Learn the secrets you can replicate to create your own success with your host, Tracy Harris.
I want to start this episode by saying something that might feel a little confronting, and I want you to stay with me because what I'm about to say could genuinely change the trajectory of your business and therefore your life and your lifestyle. If your clients aren't staying, it's not a marketing problem, it's not the algorithm, and it's not because people don't want what you have. It's because you've created an online program that isn't designed well enough to hold them. And if you don't have a group program yet, if you're still in one-on-one telling yourself that it's what you prefer, I want to gently and lovingly challenge that belief in you today, because I think that there is something deeper going on, and I think that you already know it. But first, let me take you somewhere. We were in Sydney at our recent mastermind retreat, and it was one of those afternoons where everything starts to slow down. The air was balmy. It was unusually humid, and I wasn't mad about it. And we had pushed through some big work that morning. And now we were kind of sitting together casually, but very present, the way that women get when there's nothing to perform, nothing to protect. We were just in our beingness. And one of my mastermind women, she put her coffee cup down and she said, "Tracy, can I ask you something honestly?" I said, "Always," because I'm an open book. And she said, "I watch what you're doing inside of FFB." Now, if you're new here, FFB stands for Freedom Filled Business. It is a group program of mine that I run. And so she says, "I watch what you do inside of FFB and the way that every woman feels so seen. I see the progress people are making, the breakthroughs that are happening in that space, the way people stay into their third year now. And I don't understand how you do it. How do you make something feel that personal when you're serving that many women at once and when every woman has a unique niche and she's just in a different season, different seasons of life, different stages of business? How are you doing that?" And I sat with her question for a moment because I could feel it. Not just the question, but I could feel what was underneath it. She wasn't just asking me, how do I do it? She was asking, is it possible for me to do that? And I looked at her and I said, "You know what breaks my heart? Most women in this industry never learn how to do what you just described. They're brilliant at what they know. They do change lives in one-on-one, but no one has ever taught them how to take that and build that into a group experience that holds the same depth, the same care, the same transformation that happens in their one-on-one containers." So yeah, I paused. And so they don't. These women, they stay in one-on-one. And you know what's worse? They tell themselves that it's their preference. But really, it's a ceiling. It's a ceiling. And the whole table kind of went still. I mean, you could hear the coffee cups being popped down on the saucers because every woman sitting there had felt that at one stage or another or was feeling it in that moment. That quiet tension between knowing that you're meant for more and not yet knowing how to get there. That's such a real thing, and we need to normalize that. And that's who I want to speak to today in this episode. If you are a female expert, a coach, a facilitator, a teacher, if you are a course creator, a therapist, a practitioner, if you are exceptional at what you do and how you help people in a one-on-one setting, I'm talking to you. Because I know that you've thought about creating an online course, or perhaps an online membership, a group program. But when you really sit with it, something tightens in your chest and it starts to feel heavy and hard, overwhelming, and just a bit impossible. Because the idea of holding space for tens of women or hundreds of women, or like some of my mentees, thousands of women, feels really overwhelming. It feels impossible to maintain quality. It feels impossible to make sure that every single person gets results. It feels impossible to make people feel seen and known and remembered. And so perhaps you've quietly shelved it. Perhaps you've told yourself a life lie, which is, I just prefer one-on-one. I like the intimacy. Group programs aren't for me. And I hear you. I do. But I want to ask you something, and I want you to be really honest with yourself. Is it actually your preference from a place of alignment? Or is that what you tell yourself because you don't yet know how to do one-to-many at the standard that you hold yourself to? Because those are two very different things. And the difference between them is the difference between staying where you are and stepping into the kind of business, the kind of impact, the kind of lifestyle freedom that I know you're capable of. Let me tell you what I've seen for over 25 years, which makes me feel really old to say that. I've had 10 years plus in this online coaching and adult learning space. And before that, I've had 15 years in education. I hold multiple teaching and education degrees. Teaching, curriculum design, leading both children learners and adult learners through real learning experiences. I've got this experience in the bag. And so here's what I can tell you with absolute certainty. The gap in the industry is not talent. We have very clever, talented people. And the gap is not passion. It's not knowledge. The gap is world-class facilitation of one-to-many groups. People are really brilliant at what they teach. No one comes to me already not being a subject matter expert, but they don't know how to structure a world-class one-to-many experience that actually delivers transformation. They don't know how to meet individuals where they are at inside of a group. They don't know how to facilitate learning. And I'm not talking about just delivering content, because that is not being a world-class facilitator. They don't know how to create progression and momentum that keeps people moving. They don't know how to make each person feel genuinely held. They don't know how to create structure and how to deliver feedback to people that is personalised when there are hundreds, if not thousands of people in a program. And because they don't know how to do it, well, then they just assume that it can't be done. But it can, and I am living proof. And the thousands of women that I've mentored over the past 10 years, they're living proof too. Now, I want to talk about something that most people completely overlook, but we're going to go there. And it's called lifetime customer value. And you might hear me and other people talk about it as LCV. And it's just simply the total amount of money that a client spends with you over the entire time that they stay in your world. So why does this matter? Because when your program is designed well, when it actually holds people well, when it facilitates genuine transformation, people don't exit quickly. In fact, many of them won't leave. They stay, they go deeper, they invest more, and they refer others. I've had mentees stay with me for 9 years plus. 9 years. I've had mastermind clients. Now, my mastermind is a multi-six-figure investment annually. And I've had mastermind clients stay for 5 years plus. That is not normal in this industry. And I'm not saying it to gloat and brag, but I'm saying it to own it. And I want more women to own their genius and be able to say it without apology. My lifetime customer value of the past 10 years is not normal in this industry. And it is also not by accident. It is by design. It is intentional. It is built on understanding how humans actually learn and how transformation really happens inside of a group. But when your program isn't designed to hold people, you're going to be constantly, relentlessly chasing new leads just to maintain your income. And that feels freaking stressful. That would be exhausting. This is when we see people talking about burnout because it's unstable and it's not how you build a freedom-filled business. It's a trap. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm just going to keep doing one-on-one because it's simpler, I want you to hear me clearly. One-on-one has a ceiling. There are only so many hours. There is only so much of you. And at some point, your impact and your income is going to be capped by your capacity. That's just a mathematical fact. Now, here's where I need to reframe something because there is a little lie that has been circulating in this space for too long. And the lie is that group programs dilute transformation. Let me put it in plain terms. Some people believe, and they'll even approach me. They'll be like, how much one-on-one time do I get with you, Tracy, specifically? And that just reveals to me that they could not fathom, probably because A, they've never created a group program, even though they're wanting to come to me to teach them how to create a group program, but they're wanting to do it in a one-on-one capacity because that's all that they actually know. And they also don't yet have a belief that it's possible to give them an even bigger, better, and faster transformation in a group setting than it is to even do it in one-on-one. They've never experienced that before. Their brains are breaking at the thought. I love you, ladies, but I see brains breaking when I say this. But isn't it interesting that it's like people want to come in, they want to learn how to create a group program, but they also want to do it one-on-one. And like the best way for you to also see this is to come in and experience something at a world-class level. Because the amount of women that come into my programs and instantly go, this is worth it just to purely be part of this experience, like everything from the way that you sold this to me, to the way that I was onboarded, to the way that everything is set out, laid out, to the way that you somehow managed to get feedback to everybody, to the way that things are facilitated, to the sprints that take place in Freedom Filled Business where everyone is working on needle moving actions together and completing them within a deadline and then getting feedback and all the things. Like, wow, you can't be what you don't see. So place yourself in a container where it is happening and watch what happens. Done well, group programs do not dilute transformation. They amplify it. Like I said, faster breakthroughs, going deeper, lasting longer. Because inside well-designed group experiences, people are not just learning from you. They are also learning through reflection. They're learning through community, through watching another woman have the exact breakthrough that they need to see. They're learning through structured, intentional action, like our sprints that we host, inside of an environment that was built to support them. They're learning not just what they think is their next best step, but they're learning from seeing other women being coached in real time on things that might actually be their next best step. At the retreat, one of my women also said something that I'll never forget. She said, "Tracy, I've been in other programs and they were good ones, but I've never stayed anywhere this long. And I've also never grown this much." And I said, that's because this isn't just coaching. This is a learning environment that completes every element of the learning cycle. And there is a difference. And I watched something land in her eyes, something that she had felt, but she hadn't been able to articulate before. That's the difference between a group program and a well-designed world-class group program. And it's a difference that you can learn. I just want you to picture this for a second. I don't know, what day of the week should we make this? Let's make it be a Monday. All right, you're waking up on a Monday morning and you don't have 6 one-on-one calls stacked back to back. You don't feel drained before the day has even started. Instead, you've got a beautiful community of people inside of your program moving through your signature framework, supporting each other, celebrating each other, making real progress. You show up to coach, to lead, to facilitate, not to repeat yourself, not to carry every single person on your shoulders, not to be their only source of support in there like a gopher at the keyboard, responding to every single question. Not in there panicking about why your community group is dead and how the heck do you spark engagement and how do you get people being self-directed and involved. And you're not thinking about that because they are self-directed and they are involved because you've built that. You've designed something that works even when you're not in the room. So your clients feel really held. They feel seen. They're getting results. And you, what does it look like for you, the founder? You are working fewer hours. You have spaciousness. You have good energy. You've got a calm nervous system and it's glowing in your face. Like people say, wow, look at your skin. You look so healthy. You look so well. Because you're building something that doesn't require you to trade time for money for the rest of your life. That is a one-to-many course or membership or mastermind that is done really well. That is what becomes possible when you learn how to design it. And once you've tasted that, you will not be able to go back to the old way. So I mentioned sprints just before, and I didn't really unpack that. But inside of my Freedom Filled Business mentorship, one of the ways that we bring this to life is through sprints. And I want you to really hear what these are because they're not what you might think. These are not just let's do more work type of sprints. They're not busy and they're definitely not overwhelming. One of my mentees said to me recently, I used to dread launch season. I used to launch feeling stressed and overwhelmed and all consumed. It would overtake my life. My family didn't get the best of me. And now I actually look forward to launching because I know exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. I've built out all of the funnel pieces and I did it with the whole community beside me in our webinar launch sprint. And so now she just gets to turn her launches on whenever she chooses to have them. And that's the power of a well-designed group experience. This is a little bit about what it gets to feel like from the inside. So our sprints are focused. They're intentional periods of action on real needle movers in your business, not busy work, because we like to do less, but we like to do it better. And inside of these sprints, my mentees have created not just their own webinar launches, they've created their own signature frameworks, they've built their own intellectual property. And this matters now more than ever because in a world where AI can generate content in seconds, information is everywhere. But your original thinking, your lived experience, your unique frameworks, that is what sets you apart. That is what makes people choose you. That is what makes your work irreplaceable. They've also confidently set their pricing. I cannot tell you how many people dilly-dally or question their pricing, or they don't understand strategy behind pricing. It's not just about charging your worth and your value. It has to be about your entire business model. Designed memberships that do not burn them out. That's what they've done. They've gotten out of this content overwhelm and into clear strategy. They've named and positioned their launch webinars so that they're high converting, even up to 60% conversion. They've built optimized sign-up pages. They've written email sequences that nurture and convert, and they've achieved more in less time because we are women that value our time. We value our life and our presence in our families and with our friends and our alone time or our time with God, because we're not supposed to be exhausted. We're not supposed to just be doing more. We need the right structure and the right systems, the right environment, and the right coaching support. Like I keep saying, we do less, but we do it better than most. I'm just so ready to just dismantle the belief in the industry that if you work all the time, if you are investing in yourself, if you're pushing harder and harder, then you're entitled to success. But if that were true, then more people would be succeeding, and it feels so harsh. But they're not. So we all know that that is a lie. The math ain't mathing. What actually creates results is becoming the woman who builds a smart business model for her lifestyle in a way that honors her unique design as a human, who understands her season of life, and who leverages her genius. We're going to package all that up and we get a freedom-filled business. It's not guessing, it's not copying, it's not scrambling. It's leading. So what I want to leave you with today is this. If you've been telling yourself that one-on-one is your preference, I want you to really sit with it for a moment. Like really sit with it. Is it your preference or has it become your comfort zone? Because the women who come to me, they're not women who had it all figured out. They're women who were brave enough to say, I don't yet know how to do this, yet being the key word. And instead of letting that become a reason to stay small, they let it become a reason to learn. They didn't let pride keep them from growing, and they didn't let fear keep them from leading. Like you're an industry leader. They made a decision, and that decision changed everything. So we're going to stop avoiding that next level, because I'm willing to bet that the impact you desire requires you to learn a new way of holding space. And scaling your business doesn't mean losing depth, but it means expanding upon it. You're too experienced, girlfriend. You are too aware. You're too gifted to keep playing small. The world needs your vision. It needs the thing that you are called to create at scale. There are women out there right now and men waiting for you to build the thing. Hurry up already. It's going to change their lives. So the question is not whether you're capable. You are capable. Say that. I am capable. Oh, wait. I am capable. You are. The question is whether you're willing to learn how. If today's episode stirred something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Come and find me on Instagram at Tracy Harris Co. and tell me what landed, or reply to one of my emails if you're an email subscriber. And share this with a woman who needs to hear it today. You can just send it to her as a text message or send it to her in the DMs. You know who she is. But if you are ready to learn how to build a one-to-many program that truly transforms and is freedom-filled for you as a female founder, and if you want to do that inside of a community of women who are doing the same thing, with a mentor who has spent 25 years mastering this, then Freedom Filled Business is where it happens, and I would love to invite you to apply. You can go to freedomfilledbusiness.com/apply. And I will talk to you soon. Yes, me, myself. Until next week on the podcast, stay happy, stay grounded, be brave, take care.